Hey guys, I hope you guys all had a really great weekend. Personally, I thought it went by super fast. That could be because I was pretty busy this weekend, I guess. Didn't get to do as much relaxing as I thought I was going to, but that's okay. Actually got a lot done, more than I thought I was gonna get done. My in-laws are building a butcher shop right next to their house, so we went down there and we helped get some stuff put together inside. They've built it all themselves so far. It's actually pretty cool. It's really big. It's the butcher shop on one side, and then they have an actual shop attached to it also for some of their farming equipment. But yeah, really big. We've got insulation blown in the attic already. That was actually last weekend. And then this weekend we started putting together the walk-in cooler for inside. Didn't take too much to get that put together. A lot of wiggling pieces around trying to get them to all fit perfectly. But anyway, that's what my weekend consisted of, helping put together in a butcher shop. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. Not sure if any of you ever went to state wrestling or not. I guess I'm pretty excited. Lisbon, obviously, we won the individual and the duels. I knew quite a bit of the kids that were competing just because my brother's a senior, so a lot of his friends were competing this year. So that was fun to see. Watched a lot of it online. But we're going to keep talking about meat sciences this week. Last week, I know we started talking about it. You guys did a really great job explaining to me like what you look for when you're buying like a steak in a store. I really liked reading those. You guys definitely are looking for the right things when buying food. I'm not surprised. People from around here are pretty good with this kind of stuff. Once you get to the city people, they aren't really sure what to look for when they're buying meat. A lot of them go based on labeling and the appearance of the labeling rather than the actual information about the meat. But that's what we're gonna talk about. I want to make you guys educated consumers. Make sure that you know what you're reading about on labeling, what you should be looking for when you're purchasing meat of any type, some things to stay away from. Obviously, most of this is going to be opinion, just because different people like different things. But today, we're going to talk about SubPrimal cuts of beef. You guys, last week we did the wholesale cuts or the primal cuts. So those are the big sections. You guys made those puzzles and labeled that blank chart for me. So now we're going to talk about the SubPrimals. So those are the cuts within your wholesale or primal cuts. So this is going to be the more specific stuff that you're going to find in the store. Like when you go to the store, you don't find the whole round of a beef to buy. You buy the SubPrimals that come out of that round from the wholesale. So we're going to start with the chuck. So that's like the front shoulders area. That's where you're going to get a lot of your roasts. A lot of things that you would put in a crock pot. You could maybe grill up a couple things. But yeah, in your chuck you have a lot of your roasts. In the ribs, obviously, that one's pretty obvious to everybody. In the ribs, you get ribs. You get rib steaks, you get ribeye roasts, you get back ribs. Ribs are ribs. Not a lot of meat in that particular area just because that's the part of the body that's kind of holding in all those organs. And so you don't really get much from the rib area other than the ribs. Let's go to the loin area. So the area right behind the ribs. This is where you're getting a lot of your steaks. This is where you're getting your sirloins, your T-bones, your porterhouse, your tenderloins obviously come from the tenderloin area, which is within the loin area. So you get a lot of your higher priced cuts of meat from the loin area, as well as the sirloin area, so the part right behind the loin. Sorry, I have a chart over here, so I'm cheating a little bit. That's where you're gonna get a lot of your steaks and your more expensive cuts of meat. Moving down to the round, so that is the back end of the cow. Again, this is gonna be a lot more roasts, not particularly more expensive cuts of meat. Yeah, a lot of these are gonna be roasts that you're gonna put in a crock pot again. Move down to the bottom side, we're gonna start with the shank, the lower part of the cow. So the shank and the brisket kind of go together a little bit. Again, you're not gonna get much meat out of these areas. A lot of flat meats. These are ones that you could grill, like a flank steak, so that's something. Yeah, I think these are things that I think of something that you're gonna put in a fajita, just because they're thinner cuts of meat. And then, I mean, you have a lot of cow, obviously, so the plate and the flank are kind of the same as the shank and the brisket. Not really gonna get a lot of meat off of those. It's gonna be some thinner stuff. And then the rest of the cow, that's where you're getting your ground beef, your cube steak, beef stew, and oh yeah, then they have the stir-fry beef listed there. So I mean, you're gonna get, obviously cows are bigger animals, you're gonna get a lot of meat off of them. That was a quick rundown of some of the SubPrimal cuts. What I want you guys to do, I want you to look up, gosh, let's see, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want each of you to look up 3 different SubPrimal cuts and basically send me like what you would use that SubPrimal cut for. So kind of like a recipe. So 3 different SubPrimals, I want them to be from 3 different wholesale or primal areas. So like I want one out of the chuck, one out of the rib, one out of the loin or the sirloin, the round. You could stay away from the shank and brisket and the plate and flank if you want. If you find a recipe that you really think would be really good with that kind of meat, go ahead and send it over to me. But yeah, what I want you guys to do, and I'll have instructions with this also typed up so that you guys can look back and not have to keep watching the video over for the instructions. I know sometimes I can get kind of quick when I'm explaining things, so I will have them typed out for you also. But what I want you to do, pick 3 different SubPrimal cuts from 3 different primal areas. Well, 1 from each area, but 3 different areas, so 3 cuts total. And I want you to research like how to cook it, what it would be best used for. So if it's something that's going to be better on a grill, if it's something that's going to be in a roaster, so like a crock pot, something for stew, something that should be marinated and then grilled or broiled. So what that cut would be good for, how you would use it, and then find me a recipe using that specific cut of meat. You guys can write these out on a sheet of paper if you want and then take a picture and send it to me. You don't have to send me the whole recipe, just like a rundown of it would be fine, or even just like a quick description of it. So yeah, either write those out on a piece of paper, you guys can type them up and email them back to me also. That's totally up to you guys. So like I said, I'm gonna have this all typed up for you guys so that you don't have to rewatch this for the instructions, and so that you know you are getting the information that you needed for this assignment. So with that, that's all I have for you guys today. So hopefully this doesn't make you too hungry.